Hello, YouTube viewers. Welcome to my show, Camera Tuesday. In today's episode, we're gonna answer the age-old question, which is a perfect camera, basically. Well, first you have to understand what the heck is a camera. Well, it's just a tool. It's basically an extension of you that allows you to do things. That's all it matters because you are the first point. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it does not matter whether you have a high-end pro camera or a gibberish camera. You matter first. However, that being said, if you are like, let's say your performance is X level, X gets multiplied by the tool. So if your tool is good, like it does what you want it to do, you will gain speed. Now, why is speed important? Heck, let's say you are talking about something simple. Let's say you are talking about a wedding. You're not like, high octane, sports fight or something like that. You're like simple wedding. Here's the deal. Moments of, random things will happen. Let's say a kid will randomly run to something else. Capturing that moment will literally make your album look like, majestical because, hey, it's much more richer. Many times, many photographers will avoid shooting kids because, kids are random. But if your camera can allow you to hone it like in that split second, it's like, I got this needs to be in photo framed, you got this, you're gonna have amazing video. Like people will flat or say, hey, these photos are amazing. Like, and when they will see, even though they may be like, hey, I want to focus on bright and room, after years would have passed, when they will open that frame book, they're like, oh nice, oh, I did not realize, this kids. And once this kid will grow up and they're like, hey, I used to do like this. So these are small moments, and every photography you will do, these moments will happen. So if your camera allows you to capture it, you good, you got the speed. Now what happens if your camera is not up to the task? Let's say you took a medium format camera to a wedding. Most medium format camera takes very long to start up. Sometimes their startup time can be as long as 30 seconds. What does that mean? That simply means if you change out the battery, again they drain battery also very quickly, you have to wait 30 seconds. What could happen in that 30 seconds? Could be a lot. Now you might be like, hey, full frame cameras still take 10 seconds. 10 second versus 30 second gives you 20-second window where you can capture things. That is very critical because bad tool will simply miss. You will simply miss. And photography is all about that moment. You are capturing the slice of time. That is the whole critical aspect of it. So if you have a tool that suits you, if you have a photographer that is good enough, you're gonna have masterpiece. That's the reality of it. And many times people are like, oh, camera does not matter. No, it definitely matters. If it does not matter, you would not be like, let's say Fuji film photographers will say, oh, camera does not matter, I can do everything with my Fuji. Why are you saying Fuji? Why are you using that exact camera? Or let's say you have a camera and you are experienced like 30 years, you should be able to smoke someone's ass who's like 5 months or like just started photography. You should be able to do that. If you cannot do that, that simply means you did not improve your photography. So and that is the reason why when you see photographers like from National Geography, why they have giant lenses? Because they don't have the luxury of time. If they want to capture that decisive moment, they got to do it, and they got to do it now. They don't have the luxury of time. So that is the reality of it. Camera is a tool. Now if you are fixed, let's say you are X variable and you are not going to change, a better tool will still improve your performance. Why? Because again, it will not hinder you. It's like boom, done, capture, everything happens. So that's the whole point. So whoever is talking about camera does not, a camera matters, absolutely it matters. So that is the one thing that differentiates you from a mobile pixel shooter like tuk, 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 versus who's taking his time composing, aligning, and all it has to be done in a split second. So camera matters. Again, it's not more important than the photographer, but photographer plus good camera equals masterpiece. So why do you want to buy a new camera? If you're watching this video, there is a very good chance you want to buy a new camera. Now there are a few things that could have happened. First of all, your old one could have failed, catch on fire, broke the lens mount, physically destroyed the camera, things happen, or stolen. Surprisingly, that's happening a lot. So again, one of these went, you have to buy a new camera, you cannot postpone it. Second, this is a bit murky waters, is basically you think you need a new tech. Now this is one thing that I have to respect Tony Nutter, because he has that passion of new tech. He's a nerd, basically. He's a nerd. He likes the number. He likes he also works on the fact of technical complexities and all that. He enjoys that. Heck, I enjoy that to myself. So after doing years of 4K, is like, yeah, it does not matter. Why? Because every Tom, Dick and Harry watches in mobile phone, even though your mobile could have 4K screen in case of Sony, your data provider will be like, bruh, I'm only giving you gigabytes. Heck, if I'm not mistaken, Americans still have 2-3 gigabyte a month. In India, you are around 2 gigabyte a day minimum. So you could have a scenario where your extra detail is not actually doing anything. And this can is the easiest way to find it out is like take a normal camera, like let's say 124 megapixel full frame, and take a 48 megapixel or 60 megapixel camera, and you take a photo of a newspaper or something that has fine text, basically something like a manual or something like that. You take a photo of that and you'll see how messy the results output will be. Your file size would be 8 times bigger, but your details, the details that you can say no, this is a extra detail, would be like barely 10-20%. This is what happens if you chase tech rather than the output. If you chase the tech, hey, 4K versus 6.5K, you may have a scenario where it's yeah, it's 6K, is just if you push shadows too much, if you do this too much, and you're like, maybe you get something out of it. So that's the reality of it, and that is the reason why most cinema cameras are still conservatively in terms of resolution. RE took way long to go into 4K. So it happens, the reality happens. Like if you are chasing tech, do it for your own reason. Like if you are a nerd, if you really enjoy those sort of things, go ahead, enjoy it, but be mindful of that. Do not think oh, going from 36 megapixel to 48 megapixel will YOLO your images. It will add improvement, absolutely, but not too much. Then the most horrifying reason why you are buying a new camera is you are not happy. Now this is very dangerous, because this has direct tendency to lead you to be unsatisfied no matter what you buy. Why? Simply because the first time you did not did your research. Now why did you not do this? Most of the people have this tendency. It's like, hey dude, this is my budget, tell me which camera to buy. If you are one of those, you will be miserable no matter which camera you buy, because a camera is a tool which suits you. Think of it this way: if I tell you which shoe to buy, will you buy it? No, you'll like, dude, I have to go there, I have to go to a shop, fit it. If it works, then I'm gonna buy it. Camera is like that, exactly like that. Think of it this way: you are just a vlogger, you just chill out in life, you don't have photography is not your what you say bread and butter. You're like, I got this, I just want to do shoot photography. In those scenarios, somebody may push you to hey, buy Canon 1XD Mark III with this lens. Everything is awesome, the most amazing output you're gonna get or out of a camera is possible on that. You bought it, his deal is too damn heavy, and you're not touching that again. So, because it did not suit you. But again, you give someone, let's say, Fujifilm, Fujifilm lens to an Olympic shooter, they'll be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? So that's the reality. It must suit you. So please do, if you are buying a new camera and if you are unhappy with your old one, please examine that aspect first. Why the heck you are unhappy? Now again, it could be unhappy because company tricked you, or you bought Samsung mirrorless system and you thought Samsung's gonna be around. Samsung is like, YOLO bro, I'm out. Or Nikon 1-inch, my brother did bought that 1-inch mirrorless system, YOLO. Nikon is like YOLO. So that could be a justifiable reason. But again, if you are unhappy overall, be mindful of that. Sit down, analyze that decision first, so because you will be unsatisfied no matter what you buy after that. Now what a camera should do. So far, two things are super easy. Take your budget, put it in Amazon will select body only, and you'll get whatever you need to buy. Now what the heck you gonna buy? You're still gonna have at least 4 or 5 options. What the hell you have to buy? This is super easy, surprisingly easy. You have to divide your needs in primary and secondary. Now what does primary mean? Primary means your bread and butter. Like let's say you're a sports photographer, speed is of the paramount. Second, good lenses. Third, telephoto fast focusing lenses. These are your criteria. Your camera, whichever you're buying, it must have those things. And that is why you will rarely see micro four thirds, rarely or any micro four thirds system in an Olympic shootouts. You're not gonna see that because that does not meet the primary requirement. It could do it, it's just not good enough. So you take your primary, or you're like, hey, you're doing a object photography where you're like cakes, Rolex, things of that nature. You're taking object photography. You have the luxury of time. Go for resolution. Go for YOLO amounts of resolution. Go for 62 megapixel if you can afford it. That's the reality. Your primary must be covered first. That's the first thing. This must be do and if you are let's say vlogger, this must have flip outs. This must have good video out of this. Primary must analyze that. What is your primary requirement? Find that out and analyze that. This camera offer me what I want. If yes, awesome. Let's say you want to do long form vlogging, most camera will be out simply because most camera have 30-minute video recording limit. But if you want to do long vlogging, you have to have a camera that is Sony A7 R4 or Sony A9 Mark II. Simply because only those two cameras, as far as I know, have unlimited video. Or Panasonic also has that. Panasonic does not have lens selection, so I cannot offer that. So that's the primary. Then we come to secondary. Now these things are something that will help you boost your performance, boost your productivity. So this is something that one of my friend told me that their colleagues are doing, is that simply when they are going into wedding, especially in a Christian wedding, they have churches and all that, they have like 2-3 photographers, and they are hammering away all the photos and all that jazz. But there is one guy whose sole job is sit on a laptop, have a giant Wi-Fi hotspot, and all the file is directly transferred while it's being taken, like a tick tick tick, file is going directly into that Wi-Fi hotspots using FTP, file transfer protocol, and he's editing on the spot. Now you're like, why such a rush? People every Tom, Dick and Harry wants it like instantly for Instagram. So again, these are secondary things. You're not gonna die without it, but if you have it, that gives you an edge, a competitive edge. On top of that, in some scenarios, it could be just a simplicity edge. Like let's say your camera is USB-C and USB-C power capable, so you can charge your camera with the same adapter that you carry for your mobile phone, and you're doing like just chilling on a family trip. That's amazing. You don't have to carry a battery cradle, you don't have to worry about that. Awesome. So these are secondary things. Now again, your secondary list would be huge. It will be like, I want to do this and that and all that, but again, buy a camera that can handle some of it, not everything, because your secondary list would be like huge. You don't want that. Now then we come to the interesting aspect. This is the place where most beginners make the mistake. You have to think about the room of growth. Basically, how far can you push this? Like let's say you invested in it, how far can you push it? And every camera has a limitation, and this is the reason why full frame have survived for 150 years. Yes, it's that old. So because full frame, more lenses are available, people buy more cameras are sold, more third-party full frames are there. And seeing on those cheaper third-party lenses, more people buy full frame cameras because they can now put cheap third-party lenses, and even more cameras are made. So it's a self-fulfilling cycle, and that is why as of now, when I'm making this video, flat out I can be damn sure full frame is here to stay, and everything else is just okay. It's like, it's not bad, it's just okay, okay. And that is the reason the super 35 is said in for cinema industry. What does that mean, super 35? It's simply, instead of like this, you rotated your film roll like this for easier spooling, and again it allows you to put more frame. Side effect, it becomes size of a APS-C sensor. So that's the reality of it. Like if you buy full frame for a professional shoot, like your bread and butter coming from there, that has the largest room of growth generally comes from lenses. And once you start to actually invest in lenses and all that jazz, you will reach a point where you're like, yeah, my camera body is cheap, my lenses, keep my lenses. So, and other aspects also you have to think about. Does this company have enough spare battery available? Basically, let's say your camera has a battery, can you buy that battery outside? Can you buy a battery charger? That is different. Let's say you are using Canon, and Canon does not have what we call USB charging, normal USB charging. It has some tigram hoo-ha charging, but normal USB where you just plug it does not work. Okay, can you buy a basically third-party battery cradle which allows you to use USB charge that? Yes, awesome. These are things what we call room for growth. Basically, you bought this, now you want to push it. Like for my Canon camera, once I get my payment, I'll buy a remote control because it will help me shoot video much more quickly, efficiently. So those are room for growth. It is also important because this is the first thing you will do after buying it. And that is the reason why even something as high-end Canon EOS 1DX Mark III has a Wi-Fi extender. You can buy a Wi-Fi extender which allows you 5 gigahertz capabilities. So these are the primary, what do you want to do, have to do, then secondary things good to haves, and then can you expand on it. And the moment I judge can you expand on it, the camera company that goes out is like Micro Four Third. It just evaporates from there. Now, even with all this, there is a good chance you may have a scenario where you are stuck between Sony and Canon. Let's not talk about Nikon. So how do you decide? Now here's this is one good thing that government regulation did, is that make a damn manual. Now every detail of a product has to be in manual. It's required by the law. So manual has details, hidden details that you will never even think about it. Think of it this way. It has my full SD card. What is the maximum size of SD card it can accept? It's never shown on the basically website, but you can read the manual, and I can guarantee it will be there somewhere. It will say, heck, there is a very good chance you may even have certain things where you can be like, hey, which is what we call qualified vendor list. Basically they must have, like let's say Canon will test it out. Hey, buy Lexar this memory card, buy SanDisk this memory card. There is a qualified vendor list. If you buy those cards, you can be damn sure that it's gonna work, and it's gonna work reliably because those are tested equipment. Again, it's not necessary. You may buy some other company which is not tested. It may work flawlessly. Let's say Samsungs are rarely tested with these things. It could work, but sometimes it could throw up an error, especially with buffer. So again, all these sort of nitty-gritty details are in your manual. Now the lovely part about manual, it's free. you can have this before you buy a camera. This is the one saving grace of our modern competitive reality and internet, is that you can have the manual before you buy the camera. Spend time, like do the hard work. If you do this hard work, I can guarantee it, if you buy a camera and even tomorrow like something new comes out, the only thing you will be frustrated on, I should have waited, nothing more than that. You won't be like somebody talk to you some sweet nonsense into your ear and you're like, yeah, you're true, I should have bought that. No, if you go through the manual and like spend some time with it, barely will take you 3 or 4 hours, barely. And you're talking about $2,000 level investment. Yeah, 1 or 2 hours or one whole day. It's, again, do it. Just do it. Just read the damn manual. Every little detail would be there. And there are many gotchas. Now those gotchas are only found in manual. It's like, oh, if you activate the HDMI output, it will do a crop. I'm like, what the hell? Where was that? In the manual. So company is legally free. It's like they are trolling you. But again, to make sure that you don't get trolled, read the damn manual. It's free, available. And there is a very good chance if the manual basically is available in PFD for in the formats, you can select the text. You use application like text to speech, so you don't even have to strain your eyes reading all of that. You can just convert text to speech. I have clip speak on my computer, and that's how I read all the manuals so quickly. So trust me, manual is your best friend. No other individual can give you the exact detail of the exact model. Just read the damn manual. And it's a necessary thing, because think of it this way, like how pissed off you will be if you messed up your camera selection, because it's a system. You cannot just like, oh, I should have thought that through. Oh, I thought streaming is a thing and I could do streaming with every camera. Then I realized this camera has a UI that is shown into HDMI. Again, those little things, read the manual. So this was my presentation on which is the perfect camera, and I hope so far it's clear to now. It's like the perfect camera is that takes care of your primary and handles a little bit of secondary and has a room to grow, and that fits you, exactly you. And if you like something this harsh, this brutal, again, like it, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I'd urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me your extra disappointment, and please leave a comment because I'll try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.